Okay, I'm here to give you guys a quick explanation of the directions for your Monday work match the expressions activity. So we're going to start by reading the directions on the top, and then I'll show you how it works. So let's zoom in here. Our directions say we need to draw a line from the dot on the expression on the left to the dot on the simplified form on the right. Use the line button on the upper left to do this. Write the letter on the blank that the line passes through to solve the pun. The number under the blank is the problem number. Okay, that was a lot of information, but it's actually a pretty simple activity, and I'm going to show you what it is you need to do. So let's zoom back out here. So over here on the left, you have your expressions that are not simplified. Over here, you have your expressions that are simplified. Remember, simplifying an expression means you combine the terms that are alike. You combine the teammates. You're going to want to make sure you have paper and a pencil, whether that's your journal or a scratch sheet of paper and a pencil for this activity, so you can show your work. If you have a couple of colors available, that would be helpful. So you could, like we did in class, circle those teammates in the same color in order to help yourself identify. So let's zoom in first on, let's say, problem number 1, all right? So when I'm looking at this problem, I see 3x teammates. I have 3x minus x and plus 4x. So I'm going to start there. So if I were you, I would have a sheet of paper at the ready, meaning available, and I would be doing 3x minus x. So if I start with 3x and I take away 1x, I end up with 2x's. And then I get to add 4 more x's. So that's a total of 6 x's. Okay? And then here I have a plus 3 and a minus 3. These constants are on the same team because neither of them have a variable. If I start with 3 and I take away 3, I end up with nothing. So these two 3's have gone away, and all I'm left is that 6x from combining those x teammates. So the simplified version of this expression is 6x. If I zoom back out, I need to look on the right column here to find the simplified version. Now, if my answer is not in the right column, it means I've done something wrong. So these answers over here are kind of like your answer key. If you simplify something on the left and you don't find it on the right, it means you need to double check your work. I do see my answer here, so that means I'm correct. The simplified version of this is 6x. So now I need to draw my line. So here's your line tool. It's right next to your shape tool, and when you hover over it, it actually says line. So I'm going to click the line tool, and then I should get this little cross or plus sign to show up. And when I do that, I'm going to go from the dot in the first box. This was the expression I just solved, so I'm going to do the black dot in that box. And I need to drag it to match with the black dot in the box for the answer, right? So notice I started, and I can turn my line tool off now, right? I don't need it anymore. I've drawn my line. I started at the dot in the corner of the expression that I was beginning with, and I ended my line at the dot in the corner of the box that represented the simplified version. Now you're going to notice that when I draw my line, if I've done it correctly, it goes through one of these red dots. So let's zoom in. So you'll see my line went through this red dot. And what I'm looking for is the letter above the red dot. So I see S is above that red dot. What that means is over here for number 1, that's the problem I simplified, I'm going to put an S in that blank. And then I'm going to go to the next problem. When I find my answer for number 2, again, I'll connect the dot in the box for number 2 to the dot of the simplified expression. It'll also go through a letter if I've done it correctly. Again, the letter above the red dot is what goes in box number 2. Now, you'll notice this question says, what did the duck ask the waiter for? This answer should make sense. If you have random letters in a random order and it doesn't form words that you recognize, you've done something wrong. So when you put all your letters into these blanks, it should make sense. If it doesn't make sense, you need to go back and double check your work because it means you've done something wrong. If you have any more questions, remember office hours on Monday are from 10:30 to 11. If you stop by office hours, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, did you watch the directions? If the answer is no, I'm going to tell you to come back later after you've watched the directions. So make sure that you've watched this video before you try to ask questions, all right? But if you need me, please don't hesitate to come.